As we all know, virtual reality is now becoming an actual thing as the first HTC Vive and Oculus Rift headsets make their way to the hands of consumers. Now, of course, even that isn't without trouble, as of course numerous problems have plagued both the Rift and the Vive, with payment problems and all sorts of other things, but despite that, VR is now becoming a thing that people can actually buy and of course actually use. Now, we've previously discussed some predictions from analysts and forecasts regarding the virtual reality market, and the one that I discussed fairly recently was fairly positive, at least for the PlayStation VR, with a prediction of it getting 64% of the market share. I'll link that video in the description below if you haven't seen it. However, not everyone shares this same confidence. According to the analyst firm Strategy Analytics, PC, which of course is Oculus Rift and HTC Vive VR, and console PSVR will barely exceed 1.7 million devices shipped globally in 2016 due to what they are calling prohibitively high pricing. Now, these comments come from the director of Strategy Analytics Connected Home Devices, a man by the name of David Watkins. And he said, quote, "Adoption of the more expensive high-end PC and game console-based devices will be limited to a subset of early adopter enthusiasts and hardcore gamers. The high price of these devices will act as a significant barrier to more widespread uptake. The PC and console-powered virtual reality market is entering the classic chicken and egg phase, whereby the major games publishers are waiting on the sidelines until there are enough VR headsets and users in the market for it to make financial sense for them to build a VR library of content. This is providing independent and niche developers the chance to make a name themselves before the big boys arrived." Now, as a result of this, Strategy Analytics believes that the lower-priced smartphone-based devices will dominate the VR market, leaving only 13% of the volumes in 2016 to PlayStation VR, the Rift, and of course the HTC Vive. Now, of course, the price has been a concern, especially for the PC virtual reality headsets. Now, it's $600 or $800 for the Vive, which is pretty damn expensive, and even more so when you consider the monster PCs that are needed to run them at a high-end frame rate. Of course, PlayStation VR is cheaper at $399, but of course more expensive when you throw in the required PlayStation camera and of course the arguably necessary PlayStation Move, and of course if you don't have a PS4, that as well. But most people are going to be buying the PlayStation VR probably already have one. So while the PlayStation VR is the cheapest of the VR options, it's still pretty damn expensive, so it's hard not to see their point, and I definitely think the price is going to be a big stumbling block for VR out of the gate. However, that's a big stumbling block for any new technology, and it will get cheaper as time goes on. You know, 4K TVs were really prohibitively expensive when they first came out, and now they're becoming more affordable. It was the same thing for Blu-ray players and that sort of thing when they first came out. Even DVD players were really expensive back in the day, and now you can basically get one for about £25 or even cheaper for one of the really budget models. And the same thing is going to happen with virtual reality most likely. It will get cheaper, more accessible and more affordable as the years and months go on. But of course, what David is talking about here is his predictions for 2016, and well, I think he might have a point with the price, but I don't think that's enough to outset the huge demand. For example, just today, I was in my local town centre, and there was a game nearby, and they said, "Oh, put down a deposit for PlayStation VR." And I thought, hey, that's probably a good idea. I'll go see if I can do that. And the guy said that they'd already run out of ones for the launch, which by the way is not until October. And that happened in about 3 weeks. And I said, well, is that it? Then he said, well, no, you can get it for the second run, which will probably be next year. So. And the same thing is happening with the Vive and the Rift, where of course they're extremely hard to get hold of, so clearly the demand is there. But if it's enough demand, I don't know, that's going to have to remain to be seen. It might just be a case of not enough have been made. They didn't anticipate the level of demand from consumers. That is entirely possible. Or that the demand is just so high they can't keep up currently. Of course, the hype around VR has been pretty crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see who turns out to be right. I think David has a very, very good point. I think the price is definitely going to be a major issue for a lot of people, and most people are going to wait for the price to drop, either with the next model that's cheaper or for the original models to drop in price, as of course they are sort of faded out and they're sort of going to a legacy kind of thing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with David, or do you agree with the more positive assessments, or are you more in the middle? I'm more in the middle myself, but of course only time will tell. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.